All right, welcome everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. I know a lot of you are in line, but we've got a big program today, so we're going to get rolling here. So if you can just grab your food and make your way to your seats as you can. Welcome to the Wilmington Rotary Club, where we work together to make Wilmington a place where we can all thrive. Will you please all stand for the presentation of the colors? Present the colors. Please join me now in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Retire the colors. All right, thank you. Please welcome Ken Morris, who's going to lead us in our invocation.
Please remain standing for the prayer. Shall we pray? We thank you, Father, for this gathering today. We are in a room full of heroes as we think of our Coast Guard and how they daily put their lives on the line to protect us and to protect our nation. We thank you, Father, for your protection. And we ask that you protect these Coast Guard. We thank you for this fine city and the privilege we have of living in this city under the leadership of Mayor Bill Saffo. We thank you for Captain Tim List and his being here today and his leadership with the Coast Guard. We know that you are continuing to watch over those who are struggling with recent floods. Bless them. We think of the storms headed this way, and we ask that you protect us as we move through another hurricane season. We thank you for this Rotary Club and the difference it makes in this community and around the world. We thank you for this food that's been provided. And we ask that you bless us now during this meeting. Through Jesus Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen.
You may be seated.
All right, Mr. John Fonda has our Sergeant at Arms report.
Good afternoon. Conrad Bennett, rather Tiffany Kitchen has a guest. A couple of guests, actually, Tiffany. Joe Owen has a guest. Mark Einat has several guests.
And there he is right there. We are grateful for all of the support that this club has supported. Thank you.
Larry Sackett has a guest.
Actually, this young lady needs no introduction. She's a former member of the club, and actually, I will not retire her badge. So, Laurie Taylor.
Gabe Rich as a guest.
Fellow Rotarians, I'd like to reintroduce Irina Damianenko, formerly with Church World Services. She's doing leadership and consulting. Welcome.
Kate Tate as a guest.
Good afternoon. My guest is it's her third meeting, so she's on her way to be a Rotarian, but this is Elise Tate, my daughter, and today is her 10th birthday.
Chris Honig as a guest.
All the way in the back. Fellow Rotarians, like to introduce you, good friend Lee Williams. Lee's Oxford, North Carolina, born and raised boy, ECU graduate, and has been spending a lot of time in Wrightsville Beach now. Owns Gold Leaf Investments, financial advisor and owner, and is on the ballot for the board of aldermen at Wrightsville Beach. Welcome, Lee.
Pam Hardy as a guest.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. Today, my guest is Alicia Scanlon. She is the Director of Advancement at the Children's Museum of Wilmington. She has over 30 years of experience in operations and more than a decade in donor engagement. Welcome.
Marissa Rule has a guest.
Hi, my guest is Paul Nagel. He's been a guest of our club before. Paul's my neighbor and he's interested in membership and he's retiring from the Marine Corps at the end of the year.
I would also like to introduce Molly Sane, who is interested in joining our club, I understand. Molly, if you'd stand up, please.
In the food line.
Okay, very good. All right, very good. And lastly, Lou DiGiusto will introduce our guests.
President David, these are guests of the club, actually. And I just wanted to say, you know, when America is having a dark day, such as the recent tragic Texas floods, the calls come in. And in many cases, the calls come in to the United States Coast Guard, who is always ready to respond. And in fact, they did and saved many lives. Semper Paratus. We have some special guests with us today, guests of the club. Mayor Saffo, thank you, sir, for being here. You have always been a strong supporter of the United States Coast Guard in Wilmington. And we have with us the 26th Commandant of the United States Coast Guard, Admiral Karl Schultz, who's retired here. Sir, thank you for being here. And I'd like to invite the people who are always trained and ready to respond, members of Coast Guard forces representing the leadership team here in Sector North Carolina, our station commanders, and the leadership team of the auxiliary division here. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand and receive a Wilmington Rotary salute and thank you.
Let me stand up.
Members of the Coast Guard.
All right, thank you, Lou, and thank you everybody from the Coast Guard and our mayor for being here. Really glad to have you here. And then I also wanted to point out Howard McCain is in attendance with us as well, and he's not always at our meetings, on Zoom a lot, but we're really glad to have you in person. So thank you for being here, Howard. All right. Peter Maloff has our health and happiness.
Thank you. Thank you for that welcome. We have birthdays. Eileen Stephan on the 5th today, and Imani Alston on the 11th next week. She turns the calendar for herself, but she is still our youngest Rotarian. Membership anniversaries, Lucy Holman on the 6th, 6 years in Rotary. Kathy Barlow on the 9th, 20 years in Rotary. And Terry Smith on the 9th, 13 years in Rotary, 9 years in our club and 4 years in other clubs. Health, Nick Rhodes had total knee replacement on July 24th. His recovery is slow but steady. He hopes to join us again in the not too distant future. Did you hear that Sylvester Stallone got married for the 3rd time? The first one was Rocky. The second was Rocky 2. A conspiracy theorist dies and goes to heaven. God says, welcome. You can ask me one question, anything at all. The theorist says, who shot JFK? God says, Lee Harvey Oswald shot him and he acted alone. The theorist pauses and says, wow, this goes even higher than I thought. My wife put a note on the refrigerator. It's not working anymore. Goodbye. I opened the door. It was working perfectly. Leave it at that. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Peter. All right, some quick announcements here. Next week, our Community Service Committee is doing a Stuff the Bus promotion to help communities, communities and schools to help raise school supplies for children that are in need for that. So they're going to be outside, out in the front. So if you can bring your school supplies that you would like to donate to them and help us help these kids out, that would be really great. There's a flyer on the tables, and then I'll have more information about it in my email on Friday. Which includes a list of supplies that are needed. Secondly, Card Bucket, very important. We're doing a really good job at raising a lot of money to help Alzheimer's research. So let's keep it up. There's 3 ways to do that. Put some money in the cup here. You can scan the QR code and you can buy a ticket for our raffle, which half the proceeds to our raffle go towards Alzheimer's research. And then you could be walking away with half of the proceeds today as well. So I really encourage you to get involved with that. And then next week's program, we're going to have Ken Woldrup, who's Executive Director of the Cape Fear Public Utilities Administration Authority. He's going to be here giving us an update on the Southside wastewater treatment plant. This is going to be a complete renovation and expansion of that important plant. So he's going to give us an update on that and how it's affecting all of us. So hopefully you can attend that. All right. Now I'd like, please join me in welcoming Mayor Bill Saffo, who has a special proclamation to present.
It's always good to see the Admiral. Had an opportunity to negotiate with him for the Coast Guard property there on the waterfront, and was very good negotiation for both the Coast Guard and for the city of Wilmington. Just really appreciate that. And Captain, always good to see you, sir. Just a little factoid just before I read the proclamation, and I didn't even know this. I was reading a book, Pulitzer Prize winner Rick Atkinson, Army at Dawn, and I did not know that in one of the first naval engagements of World War II, the United States Coast Guard in North Africa was involved, and I had no idea. So these folks not only protect our coast and protect this country, they also were in war, in engagement, in offensive engagements in World War II. Remarkable story. City of Wilmington, North Carolina proclamation reads, whereas the United States Coast Guard Reserve and Coast Guard Auxiliary all commemorate the founding of the Coast Guard on August the 4th, 1790, as our nation's oldest continuous seagoing service. And whereas the U.S. Coast Guard is the world's foremost maritime safety, security, environmental protection, and life-saving service. And whereas the United States Coast Guard assets and personnel in Sector North Carolina are headquartered right here in Wilmington and represent more stations, personnel, cutters, patrol craft, and aircraft than ever before. And whereas the In 2003, the city of Wilmington proudly received the honor of being designated an official Coast Guard city, was the 4th city in the United States to receive such a tremendous honor. And whereas the United States Coast Guard celebrates its 235th birthday on yesterday, August the 4th, 2025. Now, therefore, I, Bill Saffo, Mayor of the City of Wilmington, do hereby proclaim the week of August the 3rd, 2025 through August the 9th, 2025 as Coast Guard Week in the great city of Wilmington, North Carolina. And just want to say, on behalf of all of the citizens of this community, we want to thank you for everything that you do for us every single day, not only during hurricanes and disasters, but every single day. So thank you and God bless you.
All right, thank you, Mayor Saffo. Now I'd like to call Lou DiGiusto up here to introduce today's speaker, but as he's coming up, I wanted to say a few good words about Lou. Lou has been a Rotarian now for 50 years. Yeah, it's quite an accomplishment. He started off being in the Rotary Club in Jacksonville, Florida, the downtown club in Jacksonville, Florida, where he became president of that club. But here in our club, he does a lot of things. He produces, directs, and edits the videos that you see at the Leaders in Service event that we do every year, where we honor the award winners of that important event. So that's quite an undertaking, working with the students there at Cape Fear Community College. So we really appreciate what you do for that. It was his idea to have the president installation dinner at the on the U.S. battleship in Battleship, North Carolina. And he provided all the music. He lined up all the tours. So he did a lot of work for that. And then finally, he's on the national staff of the Coast Guard Auxiliary. And as a result of that, he coordinated today's fabulous program and making sure that we're doing a good job recognizing your 235th birthday. So Lou, we really appreciate everything you do for Rotary. Thank you so much.
He didn't tell you I came into Rotary when I was 10 years old. But I want to, Coasties want him to have this book, official biography of the sole Medal of Honor recipient in the history of the Coast Guard, Signalman First Class Douglas Monroe, who rescued Chesty Puller's 500 Marines off the beach at Guadalcanal. So for your collection.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
So thank you, David. Our speaker today is the commanding officer of Coast Guard Sector North Carolina, Tim List. His complete, extensive leadership bio is on your table, and hopefully you all have had a chance to take a look at it. Sector North Carolina is a strategic area of responsibility for the Coast Guard, covering over 3,000 miles of inland and coastal waterways. He leads a team of over 1,300 active, reserve, and auxiliary Coast Guard members. His career was extensive, and the highlights were served as Coast Guard liaison in Washington to the Secretary of Defense and special assistant to the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. His many commendations and award are included in your bio on your table, but most recently the DHS Innovation Award. He's married to Rear Admiral Karl Schultz, retired United States Coast Guard. And this is true. As you can imagine, the captain has a very busy schedule. He cleared his decks to make sure that he could be here today for the Rotary salute to the Coast Guard. So please welcome a great leader, a patriot, and one who exemplifies the Coast Guard values, honor, respect, and devotion to duty. Captain List.
Yes. Good afternoon, everybody. I don't really know what to say after that. Lou's kind of covered it, so I'm just going to leave. Okay. So I take my orders from Lou. If you haven't gotten the idea yet, he's our hidden secret, but he's not so much a secret in this club, I see too. So Lou, thanks everything that you do for the auxiliary as well too, and the entire Coast Guard. With that, I had to put together a PowerPoint presentation. So there's many wonderful slides. I will move through them and hopefully we can provide you some information. Is that a clicker situation or are you guys just gonna do it? Uh-oh. Okay, giving the captain technology. This could be dangerous. Okay. Okay. First, I'd like to thank all of the Rotary Club, David, Lou, all the members here today. Thank you. And thank you for everything that you all do. Looking at the outside in as a Coast Guard member, you all are highly impressive as a group. From improving literacy in our community, supporting Ukraine war refugees, your work here and abroad has profound effect. As you all know, but it hit us pretty strong, one of your mottos is service above self. One that we think the Coast Guard can certainly relate to in all that we do, without a doubt. Also, big thanks to Mayor, sir. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for that proclamation and all you do for our members as well. Admiral Schultz, good to see you again, sir. It's always good when my former boss shows up. So I guess we're still in good standing. But thank you for being here, and thank you for being a proud citizen of Wilmington area yourself, sir. Yep. This is the 22nd year of Wilmington being a Coast Guard city, and we're proud to be part of the city and the surrounding community overall. So as you've heard, it's the Coast Guard's 235th birthday. No, I was not around for year one, but I've been in for a few minutes, but not that early. And we're here to pay really tribute to our extraordinary women and men who serve our nation selfishly through the Coast Guard. So I'd just like to share with you all a few missions and some highlights of what we do for you in the state of North Carolina. Let's see if this works. Oh, it did work. Okay. It wouldn't be a slide presentation without talking about some history. The Coast Guard's history and the Coast Guard's history in North Carolina go together. It's one and the same. One of the first revenue cutters was built in Washington, North Carolina in 1791. One of the first. Anyone know what its name was? Yes, sir. As the CO would know. Diligence 1 was built in 1791 in Washington. She temporarily sailed out of New Bern for a year, probably prior to moving to her permanent home port in Wilmington, right here. And there's been a long history of Diligence, the Dilly, as we like to call her, here in Wilmington. North Carolina's first lighthouse was Bald Head Island Lighthouse, built in 1817. And for more than 200 years, North Carolina's oldest standing lighthouse has marked the mouth of the historic Cape Fear River. Chickamaconaco Life Saving Station. Fun fact, it's now time for me to transfer because I can say the word Chickamaconaco. It's up in Rodanthe in the Outer Banks. Was the first station built in North Carolina, commissioned in December 4th, 1874. It's one of the most unique historical maritime sites in the East Coast. If you ever get a chance to go up there and see some of the demonstrations they do of what old surfmen in the Coast Guard did, it's truly amazing. And in 1920, the first Coast Guard air station was established in, not Elizabeth City, but Morehead City, actually, after the Coast Guard was transferred from the Navy back to Treasury Department in 1919. So today's Coast Guard continues to have a strong presence in North Carolina. Here at what we call Sector North Carolina, as we like to say, we wear many hats, many roles and responsibilities. The 5 hats are what's commonly referred to as what we do, which includes Captain of the Port Authorities, which is managing our maritime transportation system, Federal On-Scene Coordinator, so that's pollution and hazardous material responses, Office of the in charge of marine inspections, so that's us inspecting commercial vessels, Federal Maritime Security Coordinator, keeping our water safe, and of course, what most people know the Coast Guard for, our search and rescue mission. So Sector North Carolina, sorry for the busy slide here. Its area responsibility spans over 3,300 miles of inland river, coastal waterways, 2 military and economic strategic ports, and 3 interstate lakes, inland actually as well too. As you heard from Lou and others, all said together, we're over 1,300 active reserve and our volunteer auxiliaries that support each and every one of you in the state of North Carolina. To do so, our units are spread out from Nag's Head down to Bald Head Island and all the waters in between. The Coast Guard cutter Heron is based out of Fort Macon, along with 4 other cutters up there, conducting law enforcement and search and rescue. We have 3 aids to navigation teams spread out throughout the AOR, servicing all the waterways, aids and ranges. 2 maritime safety detachments that handle vessel inspections as well as pollution response. And then, as the mayor and others pointed out, our command and control, our sector office here in the city of Wilmington, where we conduct manage Coast Guard operations. A little bit by the numbers. It says read the slide, so I'm gonna have to look at the slide. This is a quick snapshot of what we do annually here in the state of North Carolina. Just over 250 SAR cases with over 87 lives saved, 437 lives assisted, property and vessels covered. Well over, I would say this year, 3,000 law enforcement activities. That's us boarding vessels, ensuring that they're safe and secure. Unfortunately, over 60 terminations. That's vessels that are not in compliance with all the safety regs and some other issues. I would say even more importantly on the last two bullets of that area, over 700 ATONs elements service. That's making sure our waterways is taken care of. And actually the number is over 80 in total explosive handling loadouts. I'll talk about that in a minute with our partnership with the folks down in Sunny Point in the port here too, which is a bit of our strategic world here. And then over 95 pollution responses. We'll talk about a couple of those in a few highlights. We talked a little bit about our boats, which is a lot of people wouldn't know the Coast Guard for. We have 8 boat stations, 2 surf stations, which are up in the Outer Banks, 2 heavy weather units in Oak Island and then a bit at Fort Macon. Our Oak Island unit is also our Ports, Waterways, and Coastal Security asset. And the Coast Guard cutter Heron, who just switched over from Virginia, came down and she's underway offshore right now as we speak. A couple of cases that I just wanted to highlight. Let me see what we have here. Okay, then when we talk about, we're talking about hoax cases, and unfortunately I have to bring that up for a minute. We're talking about it. It is an ongoing kind of thing. And we are asking for a little bit of your support. So we've had a few ongoing hoax cases. That's just people calling on the radio, pretending to be in distress and are not. It's an ongoing thing around the country. It happens at times. It is of concern. We're trying to address it with our partners, but just word and just something to think about. If you hear things and know about folks, it takes away valuable time and resources from us, obviously, as you can imagine. Most importantly, if we're launching resources to investigate these things, not only are we putting Coast Guard members at risk for unneeded reasons, but it also puts us off from being able to deal with somebody that actually is in distress and try to help them too. So it is a thing. I'm not really sure why, but it's ongoing. So any help or assistance, or if anybody knows anything, feel free to give us a call. And we're continuing to try to eliminate that. Let me see here. Okay, just some general cases, which some of you would probably recognize and understand what we're about, what the Coast Guard's about, which is search and rescue. Let's just flip where I am. So the pictures from this case, Coast Guard Station Oak Island, and some of our members are here today. They rescued 2 people after their 12-foot John boat began taking on water at Jaybird Shoals near Bald Head Island. One person, of course, was found holding onto a cooler. Not a good life jacket, but still floats. While the other remained clinging to the partially submerged boats. Both individuals were wearing, those others both were wearing life jackets, were safely recovered in the water, and the boat towed back to shore. Now that sounds kind of simple, which it is. In our expertise, I will tell you, our people make this look safe and simple and secure. If someone gets into trouble with a boat, they have the proper equipment, they call us, we know exactly where they are, we can go right to them, rescue them, get back to business. What's the other one they're talking about? No, we'll go this one. Okay, just a few minutes about our inspection program, which some of you might not be aware of. So the commercial ports of Wilmington and Morehead City, because they are combined, are some of the most significant economic ports in the country, actually. And they're also military significant for many reasons as well, too. The Coast Guard is charged with, we conduct safety exams of all vessels that operate out of there, as well as the safe operation of the port itself in partnership with the state port operations. There's just some numbers down there of what we do. Small passenger vessels, that's everything from your charter fishing vessels to your charter fishing boats. We average about 150, I would say, about those. Towing barges, as you can think of. Over 10 research vessels, which are kind of interesting. UNCW and Cape Fear have a fairly extensive maritime research center, and they operate their vessels as well, too. And as you can imagine, plenty of foreign vessels coming in and out. Our job is to make sure they're operating safely and securely when they come in and also when they depart and leave the country. I will bring up one of the incidents just to sort of show you what that kind of life is about. So just a point we want to highlight, the Sigma Pioneer was a vessel that was offloading cargo of especially hazardous that we identified 8 hazardous conditions on, i.e. the vessel is not safe to sail. So these vessels are coming into the port of Wilmington every single day. They're offloading cargo, moving. Most of you would not notice they're coming and going and they're seamless thing. Our inspectors got on board, found some hazardous conditions that were in place on board the vessel. All said and done, by the time we got to the bottom of this vessel was halted from conducting operations for about 30 days. As we worked with them to fix all the items on that vessel, and they moved on. A couple of highlights here on this point. Really no impact to the flow of commerce, right? We found a substandard vessel that plies the waters internationally. Our inspectors, which is what they do each and every day, identified it, got the vessel shut down, got it fixed, and got it back into operation. Meanwhile, business as usual in the port of Wilmington. Maybe not. Business as usual on the clicker. There we go. Okay. I'll just mention 2 simple things about explosive handling permits and our work, not only in the commercial port, but with our partners down at Sunny Point. So if you don't know, this area is strategically important to the United States for many, many reasons. I sort of talked about the economic base on it too. Militarily, it is usually important, specifically from the commercial seaport and military outlet terminal Sunny Point. The vast majority of explosives that go overseas to support our warfighting efforts leave the Cape Fear River and leave that facility. And that facility is staffed by vastly the majority of it civilian government employees that live and work in this area, in Wilmington and around the surrounding areas as well too. So it's super important, super righteous work. Not to go into too many details, but when the White House makes a decision to provide specific military aid to one of our countries, you can think Ukraine and Israel in the near future, and currently, that's where that support is coming from for the most part. And some of those decisions happen pretty fast too. In a large scale environment, we talked about some of our heroes that are here today that have been in some of those larger wars. The majority of explosives to support the Department of Defense comes out of that port. And again, not that you would notice it every day. It's down there. You might see the vessels coming and going if you're going across the ferry. But honestly, the super important, very much so heroes that work there each and every day. Our job is to make sure they do it safely and securely. We escort their vessels in and out. We make sure they're safe. We inspect them. And then we also work to ensure that the explosive cargo that's being loaded on there is done safely and securely, thusly seamless to everyone here. But honestly, Wilmington is on the map for that reason from a strategic importance as a city, without a doubt. I talked about some of our investigations in our casualty cases. I'm just going to move on because I could be here for a minute. I'll talk about pollution response real quick too. Another role of the Coast Guard that we were probably maybe not so well known for is our responsibilities for responding to pollution, specifically along the waterways. We try to prevent it as much as possible, but when the worst things happen, we, under our federal on-scene coordinator hat, are there to ensure stuff is done properly and that we mitigate any pollution response as quickly as possible if it's in the water. One case, just to give you an example of some of that, this is up in Moorhead actually, was a fishing vessel, Carolina Capes. And in the Coast Guard, I would say this is one of our stereotypical cases that we'll talk about and use in some of our classes for years to come go through it. Carolina Capes is a wooden hull steel planked vessel. So it's a wooden hull on the outside with steel planks on the inside of it. It had gone through a few owners. This is how some of these things go. And it was partially abandoned up in Moorhead City. When we responded to it, there was a report of potentially some sheening coming from the vessel. You can see the angle of the vessel there listing over, and it started to discharge oil into the waterway up there. Unknown quantities, unknown amount of hazmat, kind of an unstable vessel, partially submerged and sinking on a pier. Again, sort of our bread and butter of what we do, but a pretty complicated case. End state, and why no one heard about it was, we used our authorities, we used our expertise, we brought other expertise in, stabilized the vessel, removed over 66,000 gallons of hazardous materials off the vessel, making it safe and stable, and protecting our waterways and our environment. So just another example of things that your Coast Guard members do each and every day here in the state of North Carolina. I talked briefly about our waterways, but I will say this, I've worked all over the country and I thought I understood aids to navigation in complex waterways and shifting shoals and sands. That was junior varsity, any place I've ever been. This is one of the most complicated waterways the state of North Carolina over that I've ever experienced. Us and our partners manage this, Army Corps of Engineers with their dredging programs, us marking best water, and this goes across the entire state. And our folks are out there every single day making sure that mariners are safe and sound when they're enjoying the waterway. Our commercial folks are safe and secure as they're moving cargoes in and out. But 3 relatively small aids to navigation teams and a couple of other larger buoy tenders make up our team up here. And they're working 24/7 to adjust all that and work hand in hand on those projects. End state, it's one of the most beautiful maritime places that I've ever been at. But it takes an awful lot of work to ensure that and make sure everyone's safe and secure. Not last. I should have started this for first. Our Coast Guard Auxiliary. If you get the hint, we love our auxiliary. They are incredible human beings who volunteer their time to be part of the Coast Guard. And they're not a separate organization. They are part of the Coast Guard without a doubt. Our Coast Guard auxiliaries do basically everything and anything that a Coast Guard member can do with just a few small exceptions, which is basically our law enforcement mission. Monday morning when I walked into our command center, one of our awesome auxiliaries was standing our radio watch, maintaining the guard for the entire state of North Carolina, sitting in our command center as he volunteers his time for us. And a few of those folks do that too. Go to one of our Coast Guard stations and you will probably find in one of our command centers, one of our auxiliaries manning the watch and making sure our folks are taken care of. I could go on and on of the amount of support they provide us here in the state of here in Wilmington and across the entire state and really the country. It's unselfish human beings who just enjoy being part of something special, just like this club here too. So if you all could do me a favor and give a round of applause for the Coast Guard Auxiliary, if you would, please. And I will wrap up where I think someone started, which is weather and hurricanes. As I tell all of the folks that wear the Coast Guard uniform, it's not if, but it's when the next significant weather event will happen. If anyone's looking at the weather right now, if you're nervous, you should be nervous, I think is what I would say. There's a reason, it is what it is. The beauty and everything that we get to experience here also means that we get those weather events. I just can't stress enough of how a little bit of preparedness, though, for each and every one of us will go a long way. For example, we're the professional responders, but we also have families just like everyone else. We live in this community just with everyone else here too. So as we're preparing ourselves to go out and to respond and to recover from these hurricanes, we're also making sure we personally and our families are safe and secure and have a plan and know what to do in case of a hurricane. In fact, we're a little late, that's okay. Next week, we're doing some training. And then in fact, all of Friday, all of the Coast Guard members in the state of North Carolina are going to be doing a family preparedness day. They're going to be at home, getting their kits ready, getting their evacuation plans put together. The duty teams will still be on, so don't worry. The area will still be safe, but because it's important, because if our families aren't ready, then we can't be ready to do it too. So I guess that's my last wrap up PSA for everyone here. If you need any information about this, please find anyone in a uniform. We can talk about how you could be prepared and need to be prepared for a major weather event. It's a reality of our lives here in North Carolina, and a little bit of preparedness not only just keeps the stress levels down, quite honestly, but then it'll make your lives so much easier. So please give some thought to that if you would. All right, that was the last. I do have a few minutes for some questions at the end, but first I've got a couple other quick things I would like to do. Starting with Mr. Mayor, would you come up here, please, sir? Sir, thank you so much for the proclamation. Really appreciate it. The city of Wilmington is a partner for the Coast Guard without a doubt, and a very helpful partner across the board. This is just a very simple letter of appreciation. It's the least we can do to help you and help us as our partnership continues to grow. And I won't go through this, but just simply to say quickly, the men and women of Sector North Carolina are dedicated to serving the people of the region and your continued support is invaluable. So thank you for everything that you do for our Coast Guard, and thank you for being a Coast Guard city.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. What's that? Also, that's for you too as well. Thank you, sir. Okay, one more, and then if anyone has any questions. And this is actually a letter of thanks to all of you, to the Rotary Club. So David, if you would come up here, please. This is my second year here, so I've gotten to experience this relationship. And it's a special relationship. I will definitely say that too. This luncheon is just a small part of our connection with Rotary Club members. As everyone sees and knows, a bunch of our auxiliaries are here too. So what you do for our nation and our country as a club and as an organization, and what you do for the Coast Guard here in Wilmington cannot be quantified. So we just superly appreciate that, and would like to present you this letter of appreciation from the Coast Guard to the Rotary Club of Wilmington. Thank you, sir. Yeah. I think Lewis take a picture. Thank you.
And while we're doing thank yous, the club has made a donation in your name to Nourish and See, which has a backpack program that helps feed children that are food insecure for the whole weekend. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for doing it.
Yeah, we'll open it up now to, are we ready to open up questions?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Any questions?
Yeah, we'll open up now for questions.
I think there's a couple.
Hello there. Would you be able to let us know a little about the youth program through the Coast Guard?
The youth program for the Coast Guard. Probably need a little more information, or does anyone else know? Yeah.
I believe, sorry. Is it JROTC?
Absolutely. Our school programs. Absolutely. Thank you. Sorry, my brain caught up with you. Yes. It's a great topic, and it's a great state to talk about this topic too. So, quite honestly, the Coast Guard finally realized that we had a great opportunity and a great message, and that was to establish some junior ROTC programs in high schools across the country. And guess which state stepped up first and were eager to do so? The state of North Carolina, Topsail being one of the first that participated with us. So it's a great partnership and relationship. I know Topsail's pretty well. Two former Coast Guard members make up sort of that team, and it's an agreement with the school to run, basically, if everyone understands a JROTC program, but with that special Coast Guard flavor to it, I think is what we talk about it. They get to do some events with us all the time. We have them out on the boats working with us and those kind of things as a normal ROTC program. It's in its fledgling, I would say, work. I think Topsail being one of the first might be year 4 or 5. Don't quote me on that one. It's free. It's available to any student that's actually in any one of those schools. There's no requirement. You're not signing up to join the Coast Guard when you graduate high school. But it's just a great program and a great curriculum across the board. And if anyone is interested and wants to know more about it, please hit one of us. We'll be happy to share additional information from you. Yep.
Has the Coast Guard made any changes in the vessel inspection process since the destruction of the bridge in Baltimore last year?
Great question. Sorry, I'm sipping a little bit. Great question. But yours was specific on vessel inspections. I would say there's a couple things that we've learned. Number one, to be fair and honest, we have a lot of contingency plans. There's a lot of things we think of what's the worst thing that can happen. It's a little weird, right? But this is what we do when we're in the emergency response world. Hurricanes are obviously one. I would really say a commercial vessel hitting a bridge and the complete destruction of the bridge wasn't high up on our planning curriculum, but it is now. I can tell you that much. Yep. A couple of things that we've learned. We've learned that we need, as a country, to move fast on sort of our awareness of vessel traffic movement, right? And I think the recent investment in the Coast Guard is going to go a long way to getting to that part. Specifically to vessel inspections, I think the answer, really what we're getting after is we need to slow down. Not necessarily do we need new restrictions or new rules or regulations on safety of vessels, but the thoroughness, especially for foreign vessel worldwide, is very important. And that's something we're going to lead a charge in with the International IMO on it. So hopefully that answered getting after the question. Yep. Thank you.
Yeah. In your presentation, you mentioned shallow waterways and good water. What is good water? How's that determined?
Sorry, that's a little slight. Best water is what I would say. What it means is our channels in particular here in North Carolina are constantly moving. If we were constantly changing the charts, if we all remember paper charts, we'd be making corrections nonstop. Our way of getting after that, though, is for our aids to navigation teams to be in constant engagement with the Army Corps and all of the local partners, like all of the boat operators, and marking best water, which is the term I'm saying, in each and every channel. And it's very unique. I would say the farther north you go in this state, the more variance there is, I would say. Luckily, the Cape Fear River is pretty consistent and flows out pretty well. But we're out there on a weekly, if not a daily basis, marking best water in each and every channel. Yep. These are easy ones.
So I just wanted to say I've had the honor and privilege to work with some very professional and knowledgeable Coast Guard intel officers who didn't always get the respect that they deserved. So I just wanted to say thank you for your mission and your support and everything to national security. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I assume I would assume an intelligence or a national security professional sitting in the back of the room over there, but thank you so much. Yeah. It's a little hidden secret. I'll just brag for a minute. Our intel officers are growing into what I would say the best in the business. And we have a unique world of being both federal law enforcement officers and military officers at the same time. So that uniqueness is incredible. They get to play with some of the state of the art and the best that's out there and are trained to the best. And I will tell you, if you look around this part of the region, you'll probably find a Coast Guard intel officer, in the committee, in the locked room where you don't know what they're talking about, sort of leading the conversation. So thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah. Sir.
There an issue with drug interdiction and or drug traffic through the ports, and what's your experience with managing that?
Yeah, great question. I think there's a couple points there. I will start with this. Obviously, if you've read the newspaper, there's a focus on the borders, specifically the southern border. I think no news there. And the maritime is part of that border. So is the Port of Wilmington, right? Our borders include our approaches and our commercial seaports. Our new acting commandant has two main strategic points. One is to secure the southern border. So we have moved out on that heavily. A lot of our regional assets that work and operate in North Carolina are on rotation heading south. But he's also told us to prioritize all of the ports in the country. So there's been a huge focus on inbound ships and cargoes, specifically looking for transshipment of things. And not to go into specific details, but I would say the transshipment, specifically the transshipment of, say, precursor things for fentanyl and other things, are a big concern, a hard thing to get after. Us and Customs and Border Protection work hand in hand. That's two of the main areas we're working on it. I would say it's not a huge threat, luckily, for our citizens and our people right here. I would say it's really about transshipment and that moving into the interior part of the country. Long way to say, yes, there are issues with things being moved by the maritime. Yeah.
Last call.
All right. Great. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you again for your great presentation. Thank you, Mayor, for being here. Admiral, great to have you here as well. And all you Coast Guardsmen, really appreciate you guys being here. It's an honor to do this program with you guys. And thank you so much for all the guests that are here today. It's really great to see it being a packed house and almost standing room only. And I love bringing the kids. That's a great idea. You've got probably, 2 more weeks to do that before the most wonderful day of the year comes back and everyone goes back to school, depending on your perspective there. So, all right, Clint Meyer, let's do the raffle.
Thanks for involving yourself with the raffle. There's $120 in the raffle. The winner gets $60. The last 4 digits are 8037, 8037.
There you go.
Hey.
There you have it. Great back to school present there, right? All right, let's stand and conclude our meeting with the things, reciting the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First, second, third, fourth, official to all concerned. Rotary.